Good morning and welcome to Lost Rivers country. Our road takes us past Thousand Springs Valley, the red-roofed house that served as Thomas M. Bannon's triangulation station in 1915 in Dickey, Idaho. And behind it, Chili Mountain, Beauty, now known as Bora Peak, the state's highest mountain. Yes, we have mountains to climb today, and we'll be practicing our art in the northwest outlier of the Lost River Range, known as the Pahsimeroi Mountains, looking from Dickey Peak northwest to the mountain which we hope to climb today at just a little bit over 11,000 feet in elevation. The peak that is our destination, elevation 11,040 feet, looms out of the Sheep Creek Canyon. Okay, so much for the motorcycle. The huffing and puffing is about to commence as we hope to find a ridge route to the main crest. It will take us to our rock summit. At 9,000 feet elevation, we enter the zone of the hardy warriors, the tenacious limber pine, our route ahead follows, I don't know if you could call that a ridge or a face, but we will ascend that to the crest of the Lost River Range. Apart from a little breeze, this weather is about as good as it gets for this time of year, late October. We're taking advantage of this window of summer-like weather to climb a high peak. Petros, we'll call it, which is Greek for rock. The rock that we're hiking on is Paleozoic carbonate rock, and that means it came from an ancient seafloor. And it looks like those peaks on the crest are waves ready to break and stop action. If my geology serves me correct, we just passed through 100 million years of time coming up the ridge, going from lower Devonian rock to upper Devonian rock. 500 to 400 million years ago, this rock was formed. The Jefferson Formation of the Devonian is characterized by those very colorful striated beds, which you see. A combination of shale, slate, a little bit of limestone. And looking upslope, the Devonian would end and the Mississippian, the next age of geologic time, would begin. And our mountain should be capped with Mississippian rock. Some of it should be good fossil-bearing rock. We should have pretty good hunting for fossils today as we head over to Petros. The Lost River Range has lots of neat Paleozoic fossils. However, it is not a highly mineralized range, but if you were to find minerals such as gold and silver, you would find the mineral in the contact between the limestone and the quartz. When the scree slope reaches its maximum angle of repose, you pretty much have to just claw your way up. One step up, two steps back, that kind of thing. We've got just one more steep stretch here, and then we should be on the crest. All right, now that we have the competent rock of the Scott Peak Formation, that blackish hard limestone, the going should be easier. Tell you one thing, to like my videos, you've got to like rocks. Okay, we made it to the main crest. Let's fix our position for the remembering the descent route. We have an apex. The main crest to Petros is surprisingly gentle. Look at that gentle terrain sloping down into Christian Gulch. We're looking towards the Lemhi Range, and as we look to the north-facing slopes of the Lost River Range to Dickey Peak, we see that the snow is being held in the sheltered areas. We have a gentle 500-foot vertical ascent to the top of Petros. This flat would be excellent habitat for bighorn sheep. We've seen some droppings and some tracks, so we know they're around. Of course, there aren't many. The cattle grazed in the area take up just about all of the water supply. This is a very nice protected tundra area we are in. And it's also very highly fossiliferous. We've been finding some great examples of horn corals. Let me show you here. Look at that, a coral-bearing backpack. Bet you've never seen one of those. These little honeys are about 300 million years old. Coelenterets, rugosa coral, or horn coral. The dominant fauna in the Lost River Range. Right near the top we inspect a lower summit. And the true summit of Petros is right before us. There's no evidence that 11,050-foot Petros has been climbed, so we'll build a cairn and leave a register to commemorate the day. Alright, now we're official. The cairn is built. As we look along the spine of the Pahsimeroi Mountains to Grouse Creek Peak, which we were on just a little while ago, 2 weeks ago, and we are scanning the three other 11,000-foot peaks that remain northwest of us. Pahsimeroi Range. beyond that is Round Valley and Twin Peaks. Challis, Idaho is located in Round Valley. The adjoining lower summit in the distance are the White Cloud Mountains with Castle Peak. Boulder Mountains with Kent and Ryan Peak, Trail Creek leading to Sun Valley, the Pioneer Range dominated by the Devil's Bedstead. In front of us is Willow Creek Pass, Highway 93, Thousand Springs Valley, a route of ascent. The good corals are down in there, by the way, if you want to come up and hunt. Dickey Peak, Bora Peak, Double Springs Peak. Spring Hill, Donkey Hills, Lemhi Range on the skyline, Bell Mountain, Diamond Peak, Saddle Mountain, and looking to Idaho Falls way in the distance. Now if we can find a safe way down that ledge and traverse across to the ridge, we could then walk over to the summit of 11,109-foot Pavlos. These high peaks all head Christian Gulch. We are naming the peaks for the tallest Christians we can think of. Pavlos Apostolos, Paul the Apostle, who formed the Christian church in the East, Greece and Anatolia. And Peter, Petros, who formed the church in the West, in Rome. Peter and Paul. From the summit of Petros, it looks like we're not going to be able to make the traverse across to Pavlos today. I was hoping I could find a safe way across, and there is a way, but with the snow and ice, I just don't think we want to do that today. Nice things about living so close to the mountains is we can always come back another day to visit Pavlos. And a very pleasant way to climb that peak would be to come up that one arm of Christian Gulch up into the tundra meadow, and then actually a pretty easy Class 2 walk up to the peak. So then at this point, we will head down off our cresting sea waves. Back down to the valley. Hey, before we head down, let's look at a couple of interesting geological features. That is a chevron fold, or a recumbent fold, where the rock folds back on itself. Can you see it making a V formation? And at the base of that mountain is a rock glacier. Interesting stuff, all this rock. There's another chevron, but not quite as radical as the one we just saw. Indeed, it was a thrill to climb this high so late in the season. And especially enjoyable to find a peak that hadn't been climbed. Well, back to the trusty steed to complete the round trip. Thanks for coming along today, folks. This is Rick Bogger from the Pahsimeroi Mountains, Idaho.